Welcome to Salon Confidential. Thank you all for listening. And look who is in my chair today. The fabulous Kathleen Baird-Murray. You are a beauty editor. You are a model. You are a writer. Have I forgotten something?
I'm now a brand founder as well. I've got
you
lots
see?
of hats to wear.
Oh
But
my God, that's amazing.
can I just say, so lovely to be here with you, Andreas.
Thank you.
It's been many, many years.
Many years, huh?
And it's great fun to be reunited on your podcast.
That's very, very true. And you said yes immediately, and I love you for that. So that's what we
My
like
pleasure.
to. No, that's amazing. So how have you been? You're all good?
Yeah, all good, all good. We are heading into winter, aren't we? So
Yeah.
I don't like that particularly, but I have some good coats, so that will get me through it.
Perfect. That's what I have as well. I love the winter. I mean, I do like the layering, obviously, of all the clothes and all of that. So that's quite amazing.
Good.
So what I ask all my guests, so my first hair question.
Love a hair
is-
question.
It's all about hair. We both know that, obviously, and we both do it for quite a long time. Who is actually your hair icon?
So that's an interesting question because in terms of personal style that I love, I would say someone like Jane Birkin, when she was that gamine, beautiful English girl in Paris with that little fringe. And every so often I will take that picture in and I'll say, cut me a fringe, Joelle. Joelle Gonsalves,
Yeah,
you know,
that's your hair.
another John Frieda alumni who's at Nicola Clark. And he will do me a fringe and it will last for about 6 months and then I will say, no, let's go back.
Why is that?
I think when you have hair like mine, which is essentially center parting, long, straight, there's not a lot you can do with it. I mean, there is. You can, if you have the capacity to either do it yourself or put it up, but I don't like it when it's up. It looks kind of weird. So I guess a fringe is an easy way to go, and Jane Birkin did it so well and so beautifully. But then usually after about 6 months, I find it gets a bit of a hassle trimming it and
Growing it out, basically.
and there's something quite magical about a freshly box cut fringe.
Yeah.
And then it goes. And then the other hair icon, I would say, and this is the other picture that I cut out and keep sometimes and take to, or more appropriately, I actually just, more accurately rather, I tend to like find it on my phone, Google it and bring it in, is Marissa Tomei in My Cousin Vinny,
Right.
which was made in 1992. And she rocks that whole kind of early 90s thing so brilliantly. I think her hair is more or less like a bob, a black bob, quite tousled, a bit Betty Blue, if you remember that film.
Yeah.
But then occasionally in the film, they pin it up. And I guess she's got such amazing comic delivery and all her clothes in that film are so stylish. And every time I bring this picture in, they're like, absolutely not.
Wow, okay.
And what's quite interesting is when I look at Marissa Tomei now, she's a couple of years older than me. She has pretty much the same hairstyle I have now,
see.
long.
So you are an inspiration, maybe. She carries a picture of you around.
I can 100% testify that I am not Marissa Tomei's
Well,
inspiration. I would just like to get that on the record.
So what was actually your worst hair experience? I mean, obviously, Joelle
okay.
does your hair, so we can't.
So, no, I've got a good one. When I was at school, and my school was a convent boarding school in Torquay.
Right.
So I would come to London on rare occasions and I would go to that. I once went to the Vidal Sassoon School of hair training because that was all I could afford. And of course, they were really keen to get their hands on my hair because it was very long. I hadn't done anything to it. I hadn't colored it. I hadn't done anything to it. It was like the most beautiful conditioned hair ever. And they sat me in the chair and they gave me a fringe that was about half an inch long.
Yes.
And probably if I was like a cool London schoolgirl, I would have been able to carry off the whole look. But when I went back to the convent, to the boarding school, some of my classmates would find pictures in National Geographic magazine of parts of the world where this look was a part of their culture. And obviously it looked a lot better than them than it did on me. And they were quite kind of derogatory about the whole thing. I basically got teased mercilessly. Wow. So that was that.
But you can kind of, make a big difference and impact with fringe, huh? It does.
You can if you get it wrong.
Yeah, that's very, very
Yeah.
true. Because there are some rules you have to follow, you know. But then sometimes, to be quite honest, I love a fringe as well who looks like someone cut it themselves. And I like hair like that as well, you know, when it's not to try hard, when something stands out that people actually go, oh, that's a little bit different. I do like that as a look.
I think it depends on where you are with your mental health with that as well, though, because if you start hacking into your hair and it...
I don't mean you should do it yourself.
No, I don't think on me. I think it would look like, oh, is she all right?
Yeah, but is she try? Do you have issues now? What's
maybe
the
she
problem
might need
now?
to
Sit
share
down.
something or need a rest, or I think that's how it would...
Let's have a chat.
I really don't think it would... that
would
many
work.
people can pull that off.
That's true. But do you have any hair hacks, actually? Like, do you have anything?
No, absolutely none. My best hair hack, honest to God, is to go to my hairdressers. I love, love, love my hairdressers.
Yeah.
So I'm not very good with my own hair hacks. I do use, I mean, I don't know if this is a hair hack, but between color, because I have to get my color done a lot now because I'm a lot gray. And so I use a L'Oreal product called Color Magic, it's got a very fine nozzle.
Right.
And it sprays on color to hide your gray. So that's, I guess,
blonde
one
hair
hack.
on your roots.
Yeah. Oh, a silk pillowcase.
Yeah.
I
that's
like
a little hack.
those.
Me too.
And what else would I say?
I just went to Versailles, actually. Friends took us to Versailles. And when we arrived in our hotel room, my initials were on the pillowcase. Have you ever heard of such a thing? Of course, I took it. I mean, I took everything.
But did they mean you
in
to
that
take
room.
it? They would have meant you to take it, right?
But they had pajamas and an amazing hairbrush. I took everything.
Did everything have your initials on
No,
it?
I wish that would have been amazing, but no. But I took nearly everything. I carried all those bags. I was quite sad.
No, it doesn't
Simon,
have sad.
stop shaking
What
his
else
head.
are they going to do with it? What else are they going to do? Like wait for the
That's
next.
what I thought.
The next guest to come with your initials.
For. I mean, not by me. We were luckily invited, but I thought I have to take it. So that's that. So tell me a little bit more about your career. That's what I find so fascinating doing this podcast is actually that I know you for years. When I used to work for John Frieda, you were always obviously in the top league of journalists when there was an event.
Thank you.
But it's true. It's
you.
true. It's a fact, right?
Oh.
And I always remember you from those days, and I was lucky enough to blow dry your hair a few times and all of that. But then when I did my research now, I always quite surprised how it actually all started. And that's what I would like to find out. About the modeling days, there was something with Pantene, how it all started, your career.
I mean, really, gosh, how did it start? I think I always wanted to be a journalist.
Yeah, always.
Yeah, well, when I didn't want to be a detective or an ambassador, those were the two
I love the detective.
side hustle careers that I had when I was about 8 years old.
Yeah.
I would still quite like to be a detective, and
Why not?
I think I would make an excellent ambassador. If anybody's looking, I can be charming. I can pass those plates of Ferrero
Maybe you're
Rocher
a spy.
around.
Maybe she's a spy.
I could be a hybrid detective ambassador and be a spy. Exactly.
Yeah.
So journalism it was, and I went to university and I read law at university, and while I was at university I started modelling. So that was interesting because I could see how it got me into close contact with magazine editors basically, and fashion editors and beauty editors.
Yeah.
And so that was really good. And then when I finished my degree, I was able to I wrote to one of those editors, and she gave me a job on a very small magazine. It was called You and Your Wedding, and it was there were 5 of us in the office. I started one week, I was editorial assistant. About 3 weeks later, I was suddenly assistant editor because they just needed you, and you had to do everything, and it was great fun.
And you had the talent, obviously.
Obviously, so much talent.
Of course.
I mean, it wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do. Like beauty journalism, I fell into because it was a way that I could get out of doing wedding journalism, which I definitely didn't want to do.
Do you think anything to do with the modeling as well?
The modeling was helpful. It was helpful, actually. And in a case of, I guess, art imitates life, as I started my career in journalism, I got a big contract with Pantene. So I was...
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was the Pantene beauty journalist.
Yeah.
I mean, it was sort of... I don't know. I think now when you look at how social media relates and content and journalism, it's all kind of a big mishmash. But back then it was very church and state. So so it was quite interesting to be able to do that. But and then I went to Elle magazine, and then I went to Australia and Marie Claire. That was fun. And then I worked as a beauty director at Tatler for 5 years, 5.5 years.
Wow.
And then I did some stints as, acting beauty director at Vogue. I did that first under Alexander Schulman and second under Edward Enninful.
Yeah.
And I'm still a contributor for Vogue now. So
that's amazing.
I've been really lucky. I think I entered that career at a time when it was just journalism and it was just print.
Yeah.
And then I've seen the rise of digital and how that's broadened everything. And it's both good and bad, I would say. But it's been a very fun career.
I think that's what I meant as well, that you are so known, you know what I mean? And I don't want to go on about how long you do it for, but I think that I always describe it as this classic journalists, who I know from back in the days.
I mean, I guess...
We're working for these incredible magazines, and it was not about social media. It was about you bought the magazines and you read a piece, and now it's changed a lot.
Well, I think it's changed in the same way that, as we grew up, we had maybe 3 or 4 TV channels. Now we've got, we don't really watch TV. We watch apps. We watch Netflix. We watch, Apple, whatever. And I feel like that's happened in a way with print and digital, but I definitely feel like print is the sort of the vinyl record equivalent of, which is still where my heart lies. And I'm very happy that digital can magnify what we do in print. So you can have a piece in Vogue 1 month, and then it will come out maybe 2 months later on digital. And so there's a wider audience. I don't know. I mean, it's the whole social media thing blows my mind. Now we have Substack too. There's a lot of channels that we are covering. It's a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's definitely a lot.
Yes.
It's like what I witness on a daily basis in the salon, like what you have to do to promote yourself and those little stories and the reels and all of that. And I'm all for it, but I mean, I hired someone out who actually helps me with it because I'm slightly useless, But what I learned, I don't know how you feel about that. What I learned, I don't want to be seen as that hairdresser who looks completely perfect in every shot and all of that, because I think as more natural people are, as more I'm drawn into it. And I find it actually more interesting.
I think that's really interesting. And I think there is a danger as you get older. I mean, the one thing I've noticed is, it's much harder, I think, as a woman of 57 to just jump up and be on camera. Like if I was doing this when I was 18, I would be queen of content right now, trust me, because I wouldn't be so vain and I wouldn't be thinking, and also because what you don't realize when you're 18 is that you look absolutely beautiful. You can have no sleep. No, thank you. And I take that. But my point is, I guess, as you get a bit older, you do have more challenges. You've got the tech challenges of how to actually do it. You're not digitally native. So you have to learn all these things all the time. And I do think that's important that we learn to do it ourselves because... But I think also with social media, I think it's really important that we make the effort and we do show up on it because otherwise we are invisible.
It's very true.
And
it's very,
I
very
think
true.
that's why I persevere, even though I sort of have to grit my teeth and I have to be in the right mood. And I have to be like, oh, really? And
it's just constant.
It's just constant. I don't know how people do it. I'm full of admiration for those people who do it really well all the time, consistently.
I'm always like, when I walk where I live in Bayswater, there are beautiful houses, and I always walk down the street and there's someone creating content, and I always walk past them and I went, oh, here we go. And now I'm one of them. So now I've got this girl, Sophia, and literally I walk down the street and she goes, Andreas, and I do this thing and I'm like, oh my God. So, but what is actually... What I'm really interested in is what makes the special relationship with your hairdresser. You've been with Joelle and Nicola for years and years. What does it make so special, the relationship with them? Or why did you stay?
Honestly,
what is it?
I just love them. And I think they put me in such a good mood always. And I think because now, it's been years. It's been like 25 years, I think. I love, first of all, what she does with my hair. I think she's really mastered the art of giving you hair color that is interesting, but really reflects your own natural hair color. And so she's got that down to a T. And I think when you look at her client base, she has all these amazing women.
And all the Kates.
I mean, she really has. She's got all the Kates. She's got Kate Moss, Kate Blanchett, Kate Winslet, Kate Beckinsale, I think.
And you.
A little bit of Madonna. She's got Kathleen, which obviously Kate is a derivative of Kathleen.
Most importantly.
The most important Kate of all.
Yeah.
And she's just so funny and warm and
normal.
Normal.
Do you know, I remember when I started to work with John Frieda, and we talked about, that's when I really thought, like, you are a great, great woman. It was about, there was a big party, an event going on. And I said,
Yes.
oh, are you going to this party? And she said, no. And I said, you would be invited to this, and as a celebrity colorist. And she said, darling, always remember one thing. You're not a celebrity when you do celebrities. You're a hair colorist.
That's very good advice.
And I was like, do you know what? That really, I repeated that so many times to assistants and all of this. You obviously, there are extremely famous hairdressers, you know, and hair colorists.
Yes.
It's not about you, it's about what you do.
Yes.
And some of them, they don't want to be in the spotlight, or they don't want to sit here like me and have a podcast.
You know what? It's a bit like when you interview someone as a journalist. My sister, who's also a journalist, she was at News at 10 back in the day. She's retired from journalism now. But she used to say to me, just remember, they're not interested in you. And I'd be like, what do you mean? Because I thought they were my friend and we were having this conversation. She's like, I'm not interested in you. And
well,
it's so true. Well, when I'm interviewing a I don't know, like a famous person or
right. I thought you meant with hairdressers. Okay.
No. And I think that's what's so lovely about hairdressers. I think as a community, you are very supportive of one another. You're very encouraging of each other's careers. But I think you are also, you tend to be, I think, this is a massive generalization, very warm people. You're very empathetic.
Apparently we're the happiest.
Really?
When you do like research or like, hairdressers are the happiest people.
So when I go and see Nicola, and when I go and see Joelle, I might be in a bad mood or a sad mood or in a neutral sort of mood, but I can guarantee, or a happy mood, but I can guarantee that when I leave, I'm always feeling, oh, that was great. I feel so happy. I really feel happy whenever I leave the salon. And it's not just because they've made my hair look $1 million. It's because I don't know, there's something about being in the chair and that chit chat and someone's playing with your hair and they're making you look good. Yeah. And it's like a win, whichever way.
But it's a lot. I mean, lots of people compare us to therapists. And I do agree to a certain extent, because I think that you pay, obviously, a therapist. You know, to get deep into your issues. And I think for us, it's because I like my clients and I love them and all of this, but I'm not their friend. So I can give them advice, which sometimes I have to be careful because I'm too direct. Yes. But I think that clients love that they can talk to someone who is not their friend, but they have a connection. We kind of talk to them and give them advice in a very friendly manner, you know, but we are not friends. We got to know each other and we like each other. And sometimes I have to be careful because I'm a little bit too honest. And sometimes also I actually had to say to clients before, you know, I don't think I'm trained to give you an answer, because I don't want to give the wrong advice.
No,
you know, when it gets to relationships and all. So I'm quite careful these days, more than.
But also, I think sometimes you don't want advice necessarily. You just want to be listened to.
Exactly. Which I sometimes struggle with. Everyone always says I talk quite a lot. Yeah, so I have to. But I'm trying. You know, every time I come to do this podcast, my husband Sebastian always says to me, Andreas, I always remember, it's not about you, just listen, you know, because I like to chat so much. But that's why I'm doing it. You know what I mean?
It's all about to say.
So it's actually, I loved it, the way you described it with that relationship. I think that's very, very beautiful, and I think they will be very happy to listen to that as well. So also, I think But I'm interested to find out, how do you describe like beauty? How has beauty changed? Not just in the journalist way, in a way of the way beauty is these days now.
Okay, so when I started, beauty was, there was a lot of backstage focus. We would go to the shows backstage and a photographer would be there and they would take pictures. Don't laugh, but these would be actually on film. These would come in a few weeks later and they would be put on a light box and we would go through all the images.
Wow.
And Anna Marie Solovey, who was the beauty director at Elle when I was her junior, she would select her directions for the season ahead. So just to give you an example, obviously now none of that happens. People do still go backstage to the shows, but the whole show thing kind of got overrun. It became more about sponsorship and content creation. And while that was very good for social media, it wasn't so good for print. So that became a bit outdated. At the same time, when I started, also there was one page at the back of the section, health. And the health page was the one that we all fought over not to do because health was boring. Okay. And of course now it's well-being and wellness. And everybody is passionate about wellness and how we can live longer, healthier, be less stressed, and that is very much a part of beauty. So I would say over the years, that's where the main difference is. Another difference, I think, is that back in the day, it was, and one of the reasons that attracted me to it was that I felt like it was quite challenging to make it interesting and lively. It was very dry. It was very scientific. Not that science isn't, it has to be dry. Science is obviously very interesting, especially now with the technical side of things and what people have been able to achieve in formulations, in skincare and so on. Yeah. There's a lot you can do. But I think, that's just kind of blown open to more and more people having opinions. There's lots more opinions, lots more voices, a bit more character. I think that's been mostly a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's those voices, and it's so easy to actually write a comment underneath a post or something. A lot of people have a lot of opinions.
Yeah, sometimes too many, but they're not journalists.
That's very, very true.
Yeah, they're not
so I always
usually
trust the journalist opinion, but also I think what I said to Rosie Green, who was in my first series.
Yes, we used to work together.
Oh yeah, she told me, which is great. But she said also, like I said to her, obviously you get invited to a lot of events. You get a lot of different hairdressers want to do your hair or blow dry it. And do you feel as well that after so many years that sometimes you get someone and you go like, this is not going to work, or they overdo it, or it's too much, or...
What do you mean, on her hair?
On your hair, but when you go
I don't know, because I'm now so picky.
That's actually my question.
I don't I don't let people, I mean, sometimes I do. Like if it's I went to one recently, there was a new shampoo, quite an interesting concept.
Yeah.
French brand, they came up with those brushes, La Bonne Brosse.
Yeah.
And they now have a hair care range called Care, CAIR. And they have quite a unique way of washing and treating the scalp. Yeah. And so I did go to that, and that was fun and interesting. I do go to launches, but I don't usually get, unless it's my people. Yeah. I think that's going back to your question about the relationship. You become very loyal to them.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. I think a lot of journalists who I met in my life, they go obviously to launches and to events, and someone is allowed to blow dry their hair. But when it comes to cutting or color, I do, luckily enough, still a lot of journalists, and they would never go with someone else. No. Which is fascinating, that I think when you found, again, like clients, when you found your person, it's kind of like, no, I don't.
But when that happens, you still have to be careful that you are approaching hair like a journalist. So you have to, that's why backstage, and obviously there are so many great hairdressers who've never cut my hair. People like Eugene Suleiman or Guido or Sam at Night. And I love them all, but I don't need them to cut my hair to know that they're great hairdressers. I can see their work.
Because also, I mean, you are obviously in this world of like a freelance, like session stylists, which are completely different to like a salon stylist in a way,
Yes.
because they
Yeah.
work in a completely different way. So obviously you met the greats of the greats, you know, and also back in the days, John Frieda and Leonard and Nicky
Trevor
Clark and Trevor
Sorby,
Sorby and all of
and
that.
yeah, I met Vidal Sassoon. Yeah,
I met
I've
him
met
once
all
as
of
well
them.
on This Morning, and I nearly curtsied to him.
I mean,
That was
hair
really, I
standing
think
up
I
on my
did.
arms.
I think
It's.
I did curtsy actually.
Did you?
Yeah, I think so, because it was, if I've like, it's quite emotional
It
as
is
a hairdresser.
emotional.
It was the same.
Well, these people whose names you've grown up with. I mean, for you even more because
Yeah.
you know it's
But
such
I
a
didn't
massive
have that in Germany. I
inspiration.
moved here 25 years ago, and then I met all
Yes.
these, like even when I met John Frieda, who is one of the biggest legends still now, and when he asked me to cut his hair, and everyone was like, "You must be so nervous." And I said, "No, I mean, I know I can cut hair. And he's a hairdresser. I'm a hairdresser. So,
Yes.
but it's you put them on a different pedestal because of their
Yes.
career. Lots of times,
Did you give him a mullet?
no,
Okay.
I stayed away from the
Well
German.
done. That was
I'm not so sure.
that
if
was quite cool.
He would have liked that, but I think no, because there are many now. I mean, obviously now there's a new generation with Larry King and lots of other names who are out now, and but it's still people talk about the kind of, when I can say that, older generation of hairdressers.
By older generation, do you mean like the Leonards and Sassoons, or do you
Yes,
mean
and the
okay,
John
yeah.
Friedas,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they are still so known, you know?
Well, they're known and they're not known. So Leonard,
Yeah, that's Leonard, it's,
I
yeah.
did so much research into Leonard, and I'm still working on an idea for some sort of film, either a documentary or
Oh, wow,
a
okay.
feature or a series, because his life was so colorful and he was such a genius hairdresser, and of course no one's heard of him. And one thing I did do was I put his Wikipedia page together, because I think the danger is that it's almost like, you know, the saying, oh, if it's not on Instagram, it didn't happen. Is that the saying, or did I just make that up? Anyway,
I would need
let's
to
just
ask
go.
a friend or do 50-50
We'll ask a
on
friend.
that.
Yeah, okay, we'll do 50-50. But you get the
Ask the
idea.
audience.
So it's I think there's a whole generation that if they weren't around and people weren't recording them
Yeah.
at the time when the internet was born and social media was born, it's almost like they didn't exist.
Yeah.
So
But also he didn't
I
have
think
products, right? I think that makes
no,
a big
he did.
difference.
He did come out with a cologne or an
Right.
aftershave at some point, but he, you know, he was the person that trained John
Right.
and Daniel Galvin and all those amazing hairdressers came through Leonard of Mayfair. So I think it's really important that these stories get
Oh my
told.
God, 100%.
Especially, you know, this was like London in the 60s and 70s. What a cool, amazing. And hairdressing for me was the epicenter of where all these worlds come together,
Yeah.
because, you know, a bit like fashion, it was where, or photography at that time,
Yeah.
it didn't matter for the first time, it didn't matter if you didn't have a private school education. You could make your name for yourself, and you
Yeah.
could make your fortune, and you could have this very colorful career, and you could mix with aristocracy, you could mix with politicians, you could mix with models, you could mix with, it didn't really matter. And that was, I think, the first time in British history that all of that came together at that period. So hairdressing for me is a really good example of that.
That's amazing. When you just mentioned actually that he came out with an aftershave. So when I read,
Yes.
because you got your own perfume now.
Oh, what a
which is-
fantastic segue.
Yeah, no, because I remember when I saw that on social media, and I thought to myself, okay, that's a little bit different now. I didn't expect that, you know, because I
Yes.
think you kind of, I don't know, if someone comes out with something very different. Obviously, it's not, because it is in the beauty world, obviously,
Yes.
and you know. But I thought I would have maybe expected you to come out with a serum or with a hair oil or with a face cream, or I don't know why, you know.
Well, be careful what you wish for. Maybe one day I will have those too. But
why not? So tell me
yeah.
about the perfume.
Would you like to try it?
Yes.
Here's one I made earlier.
Yes. that's the one who is out now?
So this is it. It's
Yes.
called Catch Me If I Fall.
Are you going to catch me if I fall?
Of course I will. Of course I will. And the name of the brand is La Pierre Apothecary, and
Yeah, that smells
it's
amazing.
I guess it's inspired by two things. First of all, by, you know, just my career and being in the beauty industry for this long. It's very much informed by that. But it's more, I would say, inspired by my mother's heritage. So my mother was half Burmese, half
Right.
Irish. And she had an incredible story, which we only learnt about really when we were teenagers, myself and my siblings.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Very, very nice.
I promise you, it's a good one.
Yeah,
very proud of it.
Nice.
We made it.
And so you should.
I made it actually about 10 years ago with Frank Volkel. He is German, but works out of New York, where he works with Firmenich. She's a senior perfumer there, and he has made Santal 33 for Le Labo, and he's made Glossier's You fragrance.
Yeah.
And basically, we started this conversation. I said, look, I want something that reflects my mother's childhood.
Yeah, go. Sorry, I interrupted you with your
No.
Please, that was interesting.
So she grew up in Myanmar. Her mother was 15, 16 when she met her father, my mother's father, my grandfather. So he was Irish. He worked for the forestry, for the British government there. And this was in the time of just before the Second World War. And she came from very humble origins. She was she used to make cheroots, which, you know, it's like a sort of skinny cigar.
Oh, wow.
And she would roll them in the village. And the story goes that he rode into the village on a big horse, and he was very tall. He was prematurely grey, so thanks for that, Jean. And
not
exactly. I need to be more grey positive. Sorry, look at you modelling it so well. Anyway,
it's different for men. We can get to this as well, actually.
Yeah. Silver fox. So anyway, so he rode into that village, saw her, was struck by her beauty. This is how the legend goes, and married her. They had 2 beautiful little girls together, who were, by the way, named. They had Burmese nicknames for many years, and then one of their great aunts in Ireland was absolutely horrified that they didn't have proper names. So she sent them 2 silver hairbrushes out to Burma, and one was engraved with Patricia and one was engraved with Maureen. Maureen was my mother. So that's how they got their names.
Wow.
The story goes. Anyway, war came along. My mum was dispatched to a convent boarding school in the hill country where lots of Europeans sent their children. And my grandfather, they both died, basically. Both her parents died during the war. So she was orphaned at the age of 13 and eventually came to live in Ireland. But she then lost touch with her Burmese family. And I was lucky enough to be able to reconnect with them about 25 years ago now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
that was amazing.
Quite an emotional process.
It was so emotional. It was, and by that stage, I considered myself to be, the sort of tough London girl. So not, but anyway, I thought I was. And
we all thought that
but
at some
I
point.
got off the plane and burst into tears. It was definitely an immediate connection.
Yeah.
I think my mum was still alive at that time, but when I met my cousins for the first time, it was really wonderful. And we've kept in touch with one branch of the family there.
Yeah.
I saw them this time last year. There's a lot happening in Myanmar, and most of it isn't good.
Yeah.
From the earthquake to the civil war to losing their democracy. It's been one thing after another, and yet people there remain quite resilient. They are hopefully quite positive. They are rebellious. They are funny. They are kind. They're humble. And I'm really lucky to have that connection with my cousins. So that's what the inspiration was. So it's all in that bottle.
That's Catch Me If I Fall. I think it all kind of makes sense.
This perfume took a long time to make for lots of reasons, mostly to do with money. I needed to fundraise to get it off the ground. And then also some personal things happened, and they were very difficult for me. And one day I was at my boyfriend's flat, and he had this giant yoga ball. He was in the kitchen cooking supper, and I was messing about on the yoga ball, as you do. And I shouted out.
But I believe you.
Well, I don't really either. So I was a bit nervous on it. I was like, is this going to end up with like a broken neck, leg, whatever? So I shouted out, "Catch me if I fall." I don't think he even heard me. He was cooking. And I realized, oh my God, that is the name, because we all need that person to catch us if we fall. I don't necessarily mean off a yoga ball.
Yeah.
I mean in life. I had just come through this period, and it made me really reflect on who my friends were, who had been there for me, my amazing family, how incredible my kids are, how wonderful my cousins in Yangon are. And so it was this coming together, and I thought, okay, that's something that everybody can relate to. It's about having that point of vulnerability in your life and knowing that you've got people out there who love you no matter what. And I mean no matter what. So, yes.
But that's amazing that there is such a meaning to it. I love that, you know.
I can't do anything without meaning to it. It's I've learned. You too, I'm sure. It's like you have to do something where your heart is.
I just couldn't put my name on something just to put my name out there. Do you know what I mean? I think that's quite important. Lots of people do that these days. Sometimes I look at advertising or what people put their name on it, and I'm like, why are you really believe in it, you know, or is it just
I think
to make money, especially with beauty as well, or like hair stuff or hair brushes or products, you know? And I'm kind of like, because I find that interesting as well. I asked Rosie Green or other journalists before who said, I said, if you go to a launch and there is a product you don't like, would you still write about it? And they all said no.
They are maybe not telling the whole truth on that, because if there is a commercial interest, no, because sometimes, you know, well, you maybe don't write no, let me go back on that. You don't write about things that you don't like or that you don't think are any good.
That's what I meant.
Yes. But sometimes it's not about you, and sometimes it's about other things come into play. Sometimes you think, okay, well, you know, this isn't right for my hair type, but it's going to be amazing for this others, person. So there's that. Also, sometimes there is a commercial interest that comes in, and you have to be respectful of that. So if it's something I really don't like, but I'm maybe a bit under pressure because there's an advertiser involved, then I will find something in it that I feel is worth reporting about and is still credible and authentic. I think that's where the challenge is. Because
a lot of time as well, it's like that as a hairdresser, you get asked by journalists, and lucky enough, I still get asked because I'm still an ambassador for John Frieda in the UK and Germany. So I have got a lot to do with press and always with quotes, which I love, and I'm really quick and good at them because I respond very quickly, which is very important to the journalists. And but some of they always want to know, well, what's new or what's like I've never heard of before, and I'm kind of like, ooh, let's think about that, you know. But there is always something new in hairdressing, which is quite fascinating. That there's a technique. What I also find quite interesting is the retro of it sometimes, you know, like sometimes like hairdressers bring something back, which was a big deal in the 90s, the way you used to blow dry hair or the way you styled hair or what products you use. And then it comes back. Of course, the younger generation, they don't know anything about it. For them, it's like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, we've done that already. But I don't want to be, I have to be so careful because I sound so old when it's like, or you know, when you wear something and you go to your friend's house and they have children, they go like, oh, you're so cool. Yeah, I've had it already. Like Converse, like I had it already with 17. So, and it's the same with beauty and hair, isn't it? It's like, it does a lot come back.
It does. I mean, you know, life is cyclical, I guess, isn't it? Yeah.
So, what would be your advice for a new young journalist who finished university and wants to do this kind of business?
It's a very difficult time to get into journalism because
print is
I mean, I don't know, I say that, but like niche print titles are still doing well, and you know, Vogue still does well. How to Spend It with Financial Times, that still does really well. So I'm very lucky. The publications I work for are quite, I would say, in a good position, I think. But it is changing, and on the one hand, there's a lot of outlets like you know, on digital, you can start to write, which is what you should do. Those basic skills are still really, really important. In some ways, I think they're more important now because the craft of writing something, I think, is being both enabled and eroded by AI and things like ChatGPT, which is useful if you know how to use it. But I see a lot of writing out there now online, and I'm like, this is just, did you even read it back before you got it through ChatGPT? It's ChatGPT does this thing where it gives it a veneer of being written and a polish. And then when you actually look into it and you read it properly, you're just like, okay, this is just gibberish. It's just not making sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
So I think if you can go back to basic skills and learn those skills really well, and you can teach yourself to a degree. I think, you know, when I was starting out, I was in LA for a few weeks, and I picked up this street publication called Herb, which is like a broadsheet paper. And I just used to go, I was at Cardiff, I was doing my journalism postgrad there. And I used to go backstage at concerts of bands and singers that I really liked. And I would just say, please, can I interview you for this magazine in LA?
Yeah.
And because it was Cardiff and therefore it wasn't London, so they didn't have their big roster of PRs and around, there wasn't the whole machinery. Sometimes they'd let me in. And so I used to just interview and write it up and get it printed, and it would come out in this magazine in LA. And it was fun. And I think if you can take it back to that, where there was something very pure about it, it wasn't driven by marketing or by big agents or anything like that, then I think...
It was driven by you, because you kind of had to...
It's driven by me. So you still need that get up and go. You still need to hustle for a story. All of those things still exist. And if you can get that right and you're lucky enough, it's great. But what I would say is you need a backup career, or you need a rich husband or something, because there's just no money in it anymore, which is really sad.
But then, I mean, you wrote books and all of that, so there's
I
always
wrote
something
books too,
you can think about.
But with books, you need to get a film deal, and you need to get it made as a film. If it's a novel,
make this into a film, and then you're gonna be.
We will be all right.
We're all gonna.
We will be all right. That's what we need to do.
A lot of money. But listen, I think we could actually chat now for a week.
We could.
I think there's so much. But I really have to thank you for. I think we covered so much about hair and beauty, and about you and being this amazing journalist. So I can't thank you enough for being my guest.
That was so much fun.
And at least I get to see you like this.
I know.
I can't steal you away from Nicola or Joelle, but I don't want to. Oh my God. But you can come in once in a while for a blow dry, just for a coffee. We live like close.
That would be amazing.
That
would be amazing.
Listen, thank you so much. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, my darling. Thank you so much.